Sanjay Gidwani.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's Sanjay Gidwani here from Enterprise Backstage. And it's a pleasure to have a very special guest this afternoon. As you know, I like to do podcasts about anything that inspires entrepreneurs, people, enterprises, and really find out what the secret sauce is behind their success. And Blair's someone that I've known for some time, who I think is a real master at something that so many of us overlook, and that is our health, diet, and nutrition. And I first met him in the beautiful Currumbin Valley in Australia, and that's where he's joining us from today, or very close to there. And I'm of course here in sunny Southern California, and I think this is going to be a really exciting podcast. We're going to get a lot of really good tips from Blair, because I know that when I was building my business, he had some ideas and some things that were well ahead of the trend. He was the first guy that I tried kombucha with. He was the first guy that I tried date and almond snack balls with. And, I could go on and on. He's always ahead of the trends. And Blair, maybe you could start off by just telling us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I've been working at a health retreat for the last 15 years, managing the kitchen and working as the naturopath. I do a couple of talks each week, normally on longevity and the diet that the guests are going to receive over the week.
Right.
I've just recently left in the last sort of 4 or 5 months, and I've gone into running my own healthy homestay. So it's a little bit more one-on-one. I'm looking at implementing all the little procedures that I would have done out at the health retreat. It's looking at teaching, pretty much I guess you'd say, sort of the average person what they need to do to get back on track.
Okay.
Yeah.
And spending, you said 15 years at one of Australia's most well-known health retreats, and probably one of the world's most well-known health retreats. I remember running into people from all over the world there. So what are the common ailments and illnesses that you used to see with people coming in there?
Okay, I'd probably say the common ones would have been obesity.
Okay.
Everybody now is just getting bigger in the West.
Right.
And I don't know whether that's maybe sort of corporate lifestyle, too busy, not enough time to do a little bit of exercise, or even just stress, because stress can put a huge sort of dent basically on trying to lose weight.
Right.
Also, diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, and I guess a lot of the autoimmune diseases now sort of start turning up.
Okay.
A lot of gut stuff, a lot of ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, allergies. I mean, I remember a lady came to me and she had a list of 127 things she couldn't eat.
Wow.
So I was always in charge of sorting out the diet for the guests for the week. So that was always an interesting job on a Sunday, to try to sort of write down the 30 or 40 guest allergies and sort of arrange the diet around the week for that.
So what were some of the things that you would recommend to people? So we've got busy corporates and busy entrepreneurs watching this, and they would say, well, a lot of them, if we talk about some of the common ones, would drink a lot of coffee. They would probably not have the best, they would skip breakfast, I think is the most common one that I often hear about. And they would try and cram in, some drinking on the weekend. So in terms of those types of things, I know you and I spoke at length just the other day when we were having a conversation just to set this up, and you were talking to me about sleep. And I think that's another common one that a lot of people are getting a lack of. So coffee, alcohol, sleep, eating at the wrong time.
Yes. So the first thing we do is, when we know someone's coming, we normally send them out a little letter saying, for the week leading up to coming to the retreat, we recommend that you drop your coffee down.
Right.
Because you get people who drink up to 17 cups of coffee a day.
Yeah.
As well as a bottle of wine a night. And you'll find they're just on go, basically, and they don't get enough sleep. So out of the retreat, we normally serve dinner about 6:30. So the first thing that we notice is people go to bed a bit earlier.
Okay.
And given that we try to run on our own time out there and get people to stop using their clocks so much and stop looking at their watches or their phones. And the good thing is you couldn't get coverage out there. Yeah. So it's a nice thing to take someone's cell phone, or not take it away, but tell them to turn it off for the week.
Right.
It's probably going to be at about 8:30, and they'll get up about 5:30. So most people think 6 to 8 hours of sleep is enough, but you'll find you function so much better on more like 8 to 9.
Right.
If that's possible.
Yeah.
So we've got little tips to help you get there. For example, with sleep, the average only 100 years ago was 8.5 to 10.5 hours. Probably more around 9 to 10.5 hours. So we just aren't sleeping enough. So this idea that work 8, sleep 8, play 8 was sold to us in the sort of mid-1900s. It sort of caught on quite well, and that was never put together by a doctor or anyone really dealing with health.
Okay. Well, I know there's people that are listening or watching that are going to say 9 hours would be nigh on impossible. So then, what are the things they can do to get better sleep? Is it exercising before bed? Obviously, you mentioned dropping the caffeine. I know that they say certain sleep before midnight is far better for you than the sleep after midnight.
Yes. Well, but just before midnight, every hour before midnight is equal to 2 hours after midnight.
Right.
So I guess that's the key, would be trying to squeeze in that extra half hour or whatever you can in your busy lifestyle just before midnight.
Okay.
It's not about necessarily the length of time sleeping. For example, if you're sleeping 6 hours and you're sleeping a good solid 6 hours, that can be better than a 9 hours or 10 hours if you're tossing and turning and sort of in your shallow sleep cycles.
Right.
So it pays to get into the deep sleep. What they've found is, I really love this little experiment where they took some people and they got them out exercising at 7 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or 7 p.m. at night. And they showed that by getting up and exercising at 7 in the morning, they slept 25% longer.
Wow.
But they actually spent 75% longer than the people exercising at lunchtime or the evening in deep sleep.
Wow.
Showing that their sleep was more restorative. So for a lot of people, I find they get home and they sort of squeeze their exercise time into on the way home from work, basically before dinner, and normally a late dinner, where we out at the health retreat and me at the homestay, we always get them up straight away and exercise them first thing in the morning.
Okay. So tell me, you just mentioned the homestay, and I know that's an exciting thing going on, very relevant because now you're an entrepreneur on your own, and I'm excited to hear about those challenges and wins that you've been having. So it's a very unique experience. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So a guest would come for 3 nights, 4 days. Okay. So that I worked out that's a good little intro. And what happens is, right from me picking them up at the airport, they're nurtured for those 3 or 4 days. Right. I found that you can only teach somebody so much information in a little span of time before they sort of get a little bit sidetracked. Yeah. Or they lose their focus. So we implement a lot of fun activities and a lot of outside time. Okay. And so I also do a lot of stuff with independent contractors who they will do massages and they'll do qigong, which is a form of tai chi on the beach. So it works out. I've got a good little team. But the idea is, at the retreat, I could only teach somebody so much information in a short amount of time, and everybody would always say to me at the end of it, can I learn more? What can I read? So now the idea is that I'm with someone the whole time. Right. So it will be everything from the procedures of getting up in the morning exercising outside, how to exercise more efficiently, how to get more sort of bang for your buck. The idea of resetting your circadian rhythms, working with the sunlight outside.
Yeah.
So when I spoke about the exercise, they found that if the exercise spikes your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, first thing in the morning, and if you can get that as high as you can between the hours of 6 and 9 a.m., it has an inverse relationship with your sleep hormone melatonin at the end of the night.
Right.
So the bigger I can spike your cortisol in the morning means the deeper you will fall into, I guess, a nice sleep.
Okay.
So light does that as well.
Right.
So to get your bang for your buck, if you can exercise and take it outside, you do get your 2 hits of cortisol, which means that you guarantee that better sleep.
Okay.
So I implement that. All the food is 100% organic. I talk a lot about raw. I've got a sauna in the house. I've got a plunge pool. We talk about the theories behind your cold therapy and how cold you can go. And I had a guest the other day jumping at 6 degrees, and she did it, and she was smiling, and she could hold a conversation still. But I knew she was struggling a little. Yeah. And I do take people out to a day spa where they actually do the magnesium pools as well, and they do a steam room.
Well, you mentioned the cold plunge. It's something that I started doing a few years ago, and once you start doing it, it really is quite addictive. The earlier in the morning and the colder it is, you really come out feeling fresh. And I mean, there are notable people that do it. I know Tony Robbins does it every morning. I know that there are plenty of sports people that speak about the benefits of an ice bath. So that's a real good one, and I know that's not available everywhere. So it's great that you've got that there in the homestay.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I bought a finished sauna for their homestay and love the sauna. Like, it's a proper finished sauna with the hot rocks, and we put aromatherapy oils on it. Right. We do 3 cycles, and I found that it was missing the cold component, and a shower just wasn't cold enough. Okay. But depending where you live, a shower can be pretty cold. Yeah. So I was looking at all the very expensive plunge pools, and got onto a man called Wim Hof, and Wim Hof set the world record for swimming under an ice glacier. Yep. And being immersed in ice for, I believe, about an hour and a half. Wow. And he's amazing, and he has a little club, and he recommends actually doing it with an old freezer. So I went and bought a new freezer and siliconed it up. Gee. And it's perfect. And it's fully insulated, it works, it's amazing.
An old freezer being a chest freezer, what they commonly call in Australia, right?
Yes, so a chest freezer, and you can get them without the seams in them, so it's solid, so it can't leak any water. Right. And I just ran a bead of silicone around the top to stop it where the lid is. Wow. And plug it into the wall and turn it on for 2 hours a day just on a timer, and it's incredible.
That's fantastic. Well, it sounds great. I mean, we'll have the link to the homestay here on the video, and I'm sure that you guys will look up Blair. He's also got your own website, Blair. Do you want to just give that a plug?
Sure. So I have about 125 recipes that I've been developing at the retreat over the last 15 years. Yeah. And they're a lot of the favourite recipes. All healthy, all made from scratch,
and delicious. I mean, I can attest to how good they taste. Yeah,
they are. I've also got a blog on my site, and the blog was to just promote a little bit of what I do, because I found that it was easy when I do a talk at the retreat, because the people were already there, and they once they hear what you've got to say, they think that's great, and they always want to know a little bit more, and they resonate with you. So the blog was just sort of put out to the common person out there who didn't know me, and from there I've written 3 little ebooks, and the ebooks are my little babies. Okay. They're what I really was aiming to do, and it's a great resource for anyone who comes to the homestay, because as I talk and do sort of my talks on longevity, or I'll talk about gut flora, they have something they can take away, and it's it's not just 1 or 2 pages. We're talking 30 pages of great
Right.
information that someone can implement straight away.
Right. Okay, so Blair, I mean, I do want to get down to a few specifics.
Sure.
You know, I often say that entrepreneurs are like athletes. In fact, they need to be better than athletes. And this, you know, when I use the term entrepreneur, I think that defines anyone with any significant role in any company, in any enterprise. We see increasingly that it doesn't need to mean that it's someone that necessarily runs their own business. It can also mean a high-performing individual. But these high-performing individuals, they really put their body to the test, and they get a lack of sleep. They drink the coffee. They have a lot of stress. Most if not all of these people have families, and that's got its own stress. And it really takes a toll on the body. And you often hear, there's a phrase burnout, which we often hear about. I know within business communities around the world, it's often known that, an old man or a woman will only sell their business when their health goes south. And so, that really doesn't work in today's idea of wanting to enjoy your retirement and wanting to do more with life. And it's a really, really interesting comparison, I think, today, because you've got a very interesting vegan and health-focused, almond milk, hemp, type thing going on, and a lot of people thinking that they're consuming healthy, that probably doesn't do justice to what needs to be done. So I'd like your take, I guess, on the top 3 things that any high-performing individual can do, and they can all be food-related. They can all not be food-related. But if someone said to you, I just want 3 simple things. I'm stressed out, and I'm making a lot of money, but I'm burnt out. What would your tips be to them?
Okay, so to narrow it down to 3, that's.
I know, no, not too hard for you. There you go. It's an easy question.
So the first thing I would say would be your sleep. So if you aren't getting good quality sleep, you'll find you're not good to anybody. So, and given that, I do know that I guess a lot of entrepreneurs and athletes are under a lot of stress, and you burn the candles at each end. So you want to get that quality sleep. So I would say you always start sleep with the day before.
Yeah.
So what happens is, first thing in the morning, I would say you get up, and they've shown that it doesn't actually need to be a half an hour walk or a half an hour workout. Even 5 minutes counts.
Right.
So I like to do what's called the 5-minute trick yourself exercise routine.
Yeah.
And you set your stopwatch for 5 minutes, walk out the gate, and at 5 minutes, turn around when the alarm goes off, and that's it.
Yeah.
So at the minimum, you're going to do your 10 minutes, and it's nice if you can pick a pace that you'd say would be about a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
But you'll find that most people, when you're out and about and you're already doing that 10 minutes or that 5-minute alarm goes off, they tend to do a little bit more because you're feeling great and you're already outside.
Yeah.
And that would be the first thing to spike your cortisol. And a lot of people I know who used to come to the retreat, and over the time I worked out there's been about 22,000 guests, a lot of them would actually eat quite well. But the missing component was the exercise. So if you don't move, the nutrients can't get everywhere they need to in the body.
Right.
So if I had to say what was better, is it better to be eating perfectly and not exercising, or exercising and eating terribly? The person who moves and eats terribly is normally always healthier, which is a surprise.
Okay.
You can go to a gym, and I've done this, and I've gone and I've had a little machine that had all the bells and whistles to test people.
Right.
And you can look at people's blood pressure and their pulse and their cholesterol, and these are people who go to the gym, and you'll find the ones who tend to be going daily and training, they can have a terrible diet and they actually appear quite healthy.
Right.
And what's happening is the body is cleaning out the toxins even though they're not eating that well, the body is continuously cleaning out the toxins. And the worst case is there was a lady who was eating. She would skip breakfast. She would eat for lunch 5 tiny teddy biscuits. Have you seen little tiny teddies?
I know exactly what they are. For our overseas viewers and listeners, they're a tiny chocolate biscuit, aren't they? From memory, the
Yes.
flavours of chocolate,
Yeah.
in the shape of a teddy. I mean, it's almost a kid's cookie or a biscuit, really.
Absolutely, and it would be the size of probably a third of your finger.
Yeah.
And she was having 3 jelly snakes for afternoon tea, and for dinner she would have a pack of 2-minute noodles.
Right.
And the funny thing is, she'd been doing that for 17 years. I was astounded that she was still alive, and when I ran her through a few tests, it was amazing that as bad as that food is, the body, when it breaks down all your cells and your bones and things, it works a little bit like it will renew, actually, out of the valuable resources, what is better, that is breaking down, or that is coming in the diet. So it was choosing to, I guess, reuse what the body was breaking down, rather than 5 tiny teddy biscuits and 3 jelly snakes.
Wow.
So the first thing is you have to move, but it doesn't have to be much. There was a man, I said to him, have you got 10 minutes a day? Because I believe most people should have 10 minutes a day, which is 1/144th of a day.
Okay.
And he said no. And I said, well, have you got 10 minutes a week? So that's times that by 7. So, it's 1/1000. And he said, no, I don't have that. And I said, you don't have 10 minutes a week? And he said, no. And I said, have you got a minute a day? And he said, yes. I said, that's great, because the first exercise routine I give you is going to be a minute a week.
Right.
And he said, well, what do I do? I said, on Monday, I want you to hop down on the ground and do 1 push-up and have Tuesday off. You deserve it. And on Wednesday, I'd like you to do a push-up again, have Thursday off, Friday, a push-up again, and now you're in for a treat, you get the whole weekend off. So it's been a hard week. But I said that first routine, to hop down on the ground, do 1 push-up, stand up, will be 3 seconds. So you're looking at really 10 seconds of exercise for the week. But I said on the second week, I want you to see if you can do 2. I don't want you to bust yourself. You might not be able to do 2, you might just do your 1. That's fine. Still take your Tuesday off. But on Wednesday you might get the 2. So then have your Thursday off and then carry on with the 2. And the aim is to increase where you feel you can.
Right.
Now, he came in a year and a half later, and he had lost, I believe, about 15 kgs.
Wow.
As soon as I saw him, I said, you look amazing. What have you done? Did you start the exercise in the morning? Did you get your diet right? And he said, no, those damn push-ups you told me to do. And he goes, I didn't miss a week. And I said, how many are you up to now? And he goes, 75.
Wow.
And this was someone over their 50s who was busy and didn't have time for anything. So I would say it doesn't matter even if it's 1 push-up every second day, or it's the 5-minute exercise routine. That is basically what you need. Anything helps.
Yeah.
It's great just to start with that. So that would be my first thing. The second thing would be...
And I would just say on that, the phone. I mean, we all... I think more and more, you mentioned it before, the retreat that you formerly worked at had no reception, thankfully, but it's a real problem for people to go to sleep, and it's constantly with us, and it stresses us out most of the time. It's not often providing us with much value. So technology, I think that's related to your point on sleep. I think that a lot of us... strangely enough, things are easier to do, but we feel more time poor because of it.
Absolutely. If you use your phone at night, I would strongly recommend downloading an app that takes the blue and white light out of any of your social media.
Right.
I found that if I'm on my laptop at night time, there's a program called Flux.
Flux.
And that is absolutely amazing. And if you watch a movie, if you stream it from your computer to the TV, you can actually knock out all that blue and white light. And although it's not perfect, it does really help. But
So it's
especially
FLUX.
so the resetting mechanism.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's actually not your
And
alarm.
that
clock,
is absolutely
it's actually
amazing.
light.
Okay.
So that is why I also point that I'd make is movement, but if
with
you
the
can
blue
get
and
outside
white
and
light,
expose yourself to light.
If you
can, sunrise is generally in units of light intensity about 10,000 luxems,
Okay.
and a luxem is one light bulb.
Right.
Sorry, I should say one candle.
Okay.
The sun in the middle of the day is 100,000 luxems.
Yep.
So what happens a lot of the time, especially with these entrepreneurs or working professionals, is you'd get up early and it's dark. You're in artificial lighting all day, and then you finish late at night, and you tend to get home and it's dark as well.
Right.
And if you were to measure the light inside inside the workplace, you'll find the luxems would roughly be between 300, possibly up to 2,000, absolutely max.
Wow.
Now, if you think of it, the sun at sunrise is 10,000 luxems, and the sun in the middle of the day is 100,000. And if you only expose yourself to 2,000, your body never ever thinks the sun ever came up. So the key is, even if it's just for a few minutes, it's get outside and expose yourself to a little bit of light, ideally between the sun rising and lunchtime, so it's the higher intensity.
Okay.
And or even sitting near a window. But the problem is it doesn't work when you have your sunglasses on.
Right.
So you must have take your sunglasses off
Okay.
while
Excellent.
you're doing that.
All right. So I think we're up to point number one. We've got our top three. So
Yes.
what are our other
Okay.
two?
All right. So the gut flora. So
Okay.
gut flora now has shown that it's in charge of 85% of the immune system.
Right.
And most autoimmune diseases stem from the gut. So if you actually think, if you have an autoimmune disorder and something's wrong with the immune system, you would think the key would be to start looking at where most of the immune system lies. And if 85% of it lies in the stomach, and you have stomach trouble, you think that would be the area that you would start with. So the first thing I'd say is have some fermented foods daily, possibly even at every meal.
Right.
Now, why would you need to do this, considering that our body these bugs, these good bacteria are supposed to recolonate, but everything we do destroys it, whether it be alcohol, stress, preservatives, even just eating food that's got you'd find your antifungal agents or your sprays, your chemical sprays.
Yep.
If it's designed to kill a cockroach, not a cockroach, but if it's designed to kill bugs, you'll find it will kill your gut flora. Have come already, and I've only been going 3 months. That it actually feels like I now have this extended family where I keep in touch with them, and whether it be on Skype or whether it be just by a phone call, and just see how they're going. And I do get these questions that they'll be up in the middle of the night, and I won't answer them in the middle of the night, but I'll answer them when I wake up. And it might be like, I've just found this in the shop, and then it'll be a photo. Can I eat this for breakfast? And that's the handy thing is, I'm not just a naturopath or nutritionist now. It is almost like having on call somebody who you can ask health advice to at any stage in your life about family and friends forever.
Right.
So it was almost like an extended member of the family. So I was wanting to build that up and put out a new ebook on longevity, which I'm in the middle of writing, and I guess maybe spend another little session podcasting with you.
It sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for today. It's been exceptional. I've learnt a lot, and I do want to wish you all the best. I think, as I said at the start, one of the smartest and most switched on people when it comes to looking after yourself, and that can't be discounted. I don't care how much money someone has and how successful you are in what we deem success to be these days. The idea that you can live longer and live a better life, I think, is more important, and it's something we should all be learning more about. And I think you're the guy to help us do it. So I look forward to talking to you again soon, and have a good day over there on the Gold Coast.
Thank you. Look, it does look nice and sunny, so I better get out there, get some sun time.
Excellent.
All right. Nice. Yeah, thanks for the call.
Thanks,
All
Glenn. Chat to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.